What is up, RotoGrinders? Dean here. That's Dean78904. That is the daily fantasy handle that hopefully takes something down tonight on the old Fanduel, on the Draftkings. Have myself a good time in the daily fantasy streets. We're going to be here for the next 2 hours plus. It's just myself and TJ, a.k.a. TJ. Just pull up your Twitter account. T. Jennifer Walters. That's got to be some sort of a Marvel character I'm not aware of. Who's T. Jennifer Walters? Who are you?
Jennifer Walters is She-Hulk, which comes out in a couple weeks here. And my name before was T. Jane Foster, which Jane Foster is from Thor, Love and Thunder. And I just have there have been a lot of J names lately, so I've just added the T first for the TJ in there. And just messing around. A couple people in some group chats that I'm in have been doing the same thing, changing their names to the characters, so I thought I'd join in.
I heard mixed reviews on the Thor. Did you like the Thor Love and Thunder?
Yeah, like it was good. I just wanted it to be a little better. Like most of the issues that I had with it, I feel like could have been solved if they extended the movie 15, 20 minutes, so they could have added those things in. But like it was very enjoyable, but it was one of those things that it was like so good you're kind of mad it wasn't great.
Speaking of Thor, by the way, it's a Thor day. Syndergaard pitching. Just from I'm still in a betting state. I'm in Colorado right now, and I bet every single Kansas City Royal to steal a base, basically. That's worked out this season, and you got some big odds on some players. Like, I don't know, Michael Taylor was like 25-1 or something like that. Merrifield was like 320, I want to say. Depending on where you shop, of course, shop around. Use the scores and odds tool. That'll tell you where the best place to buy your odds. That is very, very important as far as figuring out edges. The edges can mean the margins can be thin. We do have Will joining us at some point as well. As of right now, Chief Justice sees you jumping in at some point. I don't really know what's going on with his computer. Maybe he has a case of the Mondays or something like that. But in theory, Chief Justice will be joining us soon enough. But as of right now, it's just a very intimate show. Myself and TJ the next hour, 20, 25 minutes or so. Then we got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth jumping in, of course, for Crunch Time, hosting it with DerekCarty, CEO of the Bat. And I believe it's Squirrelpatrol who's got his what did he say? 41 live final, not victories, appearances in total, I think, throughout his career. And I know yourself, you're excited about going to Chicago. I tried my best last show, TJ, to butter you up and, move myself up in the power rankings as your +1. But I don't like my chances. I'm probably not even on the podium, but that's all right. Just win a couple more live finals, and then I'm at least like a live dog. You're telling me there's a chance, maybe.
There's another contest on FanDuel there today, and I'm entering it because kind of how it goes with we got Will joining us here, so I'll throw it to him after. But kind of how it goes, especially for baseball and DFS more than any sport. For me, I kind of find that when it rains, it pours. I go a month or two without cashing in on anything, and then it's like every day for a 2-week span, I'm winning everything. So it's been a good couple days since winning the live final seat, and there's a good contest today on FanDuel with only 100 people to get that seat. So hopefully we'll get number 2 today.
Will, welcome back. I know you've had your good moments on FanDuel, and like you've had your not so good moments on FanDuel, which you spoke about in the past. But Mortimer, you're back, right? You're talking about playing on some FanDuel tonight and potentially taking down maybe joining TJ in Chicago, who I think Squirrel is already there, and Christie's also already there too.
Dean, you gotta join this tournament today so we can try it. So we can, as a group, take it down. Get another RGC.
I never play Qs. I just don't. But I like the idea of I've never been to Chicago. How much is it to join?
What is it? It's like 400, I think.
400.
Good Lord, that's a lot of money.
You're in Colorado. Right? Have some fun. You're on vacation.
Yeah. And what, steak knives for second place, right? What's second place? I assume it's steak knives. 2,400. Okay. Steak knives for 4th or 5th. I just hate this slate, though. We'll talk. Maybe. There's only 10 spots remaining. But I do that's kind of like the contest I like playing, though. Just 100 people, 200 people, 500 people, less than 1,000. I had a nice day on the FanDuel Sportsbook so far. I had a nice took advantage of the deposit bonus as well. So, what is it? A risk-free $1,000 bonus, $1,000 bet, and I hit that. So I'm up in Colorado on FanDuel for sure. So maybe
let's do it.
Maybe I'll join you. That'll be fun. Will, are you playing that the $400? You gonna give it a shot?
Oh no! Listen, so I'm smart enough to understand that. I'm not trying to hit beginner's luck. I need to get in a complete groove. So today is the tune-up, right? put in a couple contests, make sure the mojo's flowing. Even if I lose, as long as my process is good, like I'm going to be fine. Tomorrow we'll ramp up again the next day. By the end of the week, like, hey, I'm coming.
It's riding a bike, man. You're just getting, you got to get some reps in. You're jumping down to the minor leagues, that kind of thing. Like, you just haven't been on FanDuel in a while. It's, you know how it works. One starting pitcher, no more than 4.
Oh, I mean, listen, Dean, you know FanDuel, that was actually my primary site. I didn't play DK. Like, so in terms of like FanDuel, I mean, this is like coming back to visit my mom's house, you know, eating her, you know, world famous spaghetti and garlic bread, and drinking some good old fashioned sweet tea or lemonade or vitamin water, whatever you need to refresh yourself after the meal.
Vitamin water?
Big vitamin water guy here.
Okay, I'm more of a body armor guy myself, but hey, all in the same family. But look, I'm pretty excited. Which you guys know, I'm still going to be playing plenty. Okay, and I do mean plenty of props. But with football coming up, I always want a shot at a millie. And the difference between DK and FanDuel overall, DK, you got a shot to win $1 million every week of NFL season. FanDuel is only going to do this about 4 weeks, maybe 5. And then they'll drop it back. They'll go from $1 million to like 750. Then at some point it's going to be down to 500. And so I just want to make sure I get my shots in early and often, and hopefully I can take down some MLB GPPs to fund that project.
By the way, on FanDuel, the RotoGrinders single entry series, 8 contests, 6 weeks. Today starts I believe the $3 contest. I jumped in there. There's a lot of, I like the 25 and the 100 and all that, but the single entry contest, that should be the first contest you play for playing on FanDuel. I love single entry tournaments, and of course, there's the added value. If they take your top 4 or 5 or 6 scores, whatever it may be, I'm not sure exactly. And if you happen to crack that, then you enter another contest for free, thousands of dollars at stake. I mean, TJ, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you play the single entry series.
Yeah, there's been times that, especially when it's low dollar stuff, I always try and get in there. There's times where when the bankroll's not very high, as those entry fees get expensive, that I stay out of it. But when it's like this, there's absolutely no reason not to. It's the best contest that's around right now.
We touched on it, TJ, pre-show a little bit, how absolutely gross this slate was. I think I was a little more grossed out than you were or are.
I like this slate.
Oh, it's so bad. It's really.
I like
really
it too.
not,
I like the bad
it's
slate.
Really not.
I like the comfort of just being able to roll out a really good pitcher and guarantee myself, air quotes.
But there's a couple good pitchers in for today's slate, Steve.
Are there?
Yeah.
Okay, I call you on that. Who are the good pitchers?
Listen,
who do you feel good about?
When you get to have the Pittsburgh Pirates on the slate and the Detroit Tigers on the slate, I can find a pitcher. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'll tell you exactly and I'm going to play this person on FanDuel. I'm going to play Mr. Sampson. I'm going to load up on bats, and I'm going to let everybody else chase me the rest of the night. Man,
if you're playing Sampson, throw that team in that live final thing because you're going to be the only person with him.
Yeah, I'm legit playing Sampson tonight, like all in. So, I mean, hey, I'm either going to win or I'm going to lose.
I mean, when you have a pitcher that has 17% strikeout rate, how could you not play him, right?
Well, he's facing Pitt. Listen, I've seen everybody give Pittsburgh the business, and I do mean everybody. I'm going to take my chances on FanDuel. The guy's like 7,900 on FanDuel at 7,300. In fact, I can play every single bat that I want from every game. I don't even think I'm going to have full stacks tonight. I might have some 2-man, some 3-man. I'm just going to pick and choose everybody that I think is going to smash, and I'm going to ride it out. This is all I really essentially need from Sampson tonight anyway. I'm not playing Sampson for 45 points. I'm playing Sampson for somewhere between 30 and 35. If he gets that, then I just need all the bats to do what they're supposed to do or get relatively close. Jose Ramirez is going to hit 3 home runs tonight. Freddie Freeman is going to hit 2.
How many is Yordan Alvarez going to hit?
Is he going to play?
Jordan's if, as long as he's in, which I'm almost. I mean, Jordan should be good. He's going to hit one, just because of the hitting conditions. Yeah, man, it's going to be a good night.
In chats, what's up?
And I am not kidding about Samson. I'm absolutely playing Samson today.
I don't think he's in play. I don't mean to besmirch. Like, he's not good, but like there's nothing that's good by my metrics. But maybe I asked too much of my pitchers. I don't know.
Frank says start your prayers for Chiefs money now, folks. Frank, I want you to find me on Twitter, and I want you to send me a DM at the end of the night. And we're gonna see how much these prayers worked.
Where do they find you? Tell the people where to find you on Twitter.
Yeah, at Chief Justice 06. Derek now, and then Derek says J-Ram hasn't hit 3 home runs total in the past 3 months. And look, I understand that, Derek. I hear you.
He's due. He hit 2 of them a week ago.
Of course, I was probably just being a little bit exaggerative. So if you need me to be literal, he's going to hit at least 1 tonight. At least 1. And Stephen Kwan's going to be on base every time.
Let's see.
Go ahead and hit the Kwan, because Stephen Kwan's going to be running the base paths a lot tonight, folks.
Stephen Kwan has not done anything since like the first week of the seain. He was
Dean. You're telling lies. Go ahead and pull up Stephen Kwan. Dean, look at Stephen Kwan's game. Dean, no. You said the first week. Look at the game log, Dean.
Yeah.
And tell me if you were being truthful. I don't believe
you. We all know he was fraudulent. His BABIP was like 900 or something goofy like that.
Dean, what has Stephen Kwan done the past few weeks, though? The past few games? You said the first week of the season.
I just don't like guys that need like 3 events to get there. You know?
Okay, but Dean, you can't. Everybody isn't Mike Trout or Shohei Ohtani, and Stephen Kwan isn't costing the Shohei Ohtani price. He's like $3K on FanDuel in one of the best spots of the night.
Price doesn't matter. I'm not spending on pitching. I have price. I have funds. Salary makes no difference tonight.
Okay.
Like, that's the way I see it. Like
I invite you. I invite you into the DMs as well, Dean. Tell Stephen Kwan thank you when you're a +1.
Here's my mush, Stephen Kwan. I'm almost definitely not playing Stephen Kwan. He might get those 5 ABs leading off on the road, but like, he can go 2 for 5 with a couple singles, maybe a couple runs, and good for him. But he's not
just for that, Stephen Kwan's going to hit one out of the park tonight, just for you, Dean.
Well, an inside the park home run.
His 1 home run this season, when Dean says, I want a guy that can get there, and I don't want like guys that need multiple events. When clearly everybody needs multiple events.
Chief, Prop Shot Dave? Prop Shot Dave is in the house. He's in the YouTube chat right now saying hello.
Oh, yeah. Hey, so first of all, tell Dave I know his real name. He didn't have to put Prop Shop Dave in there. I know his real name. But yeah, what's up, Dave? How you doing, man?
You might get a couple more inside the park homers with that Boston defense. So that's something that's how you might suck out on Stephen Kwan.
Yes. Well, listen. Okay, Derek, thank you. We've got running mush candidates. And Stephen Kwan is now at the top of that list. Thank you.
If Stephen Kwan beats me, so be it. I tip of the cap. I'm a little miserable about it. I'm a little bit cranky, but I'll move on and go to tomorrow, I suppose.
You got to get back home, Dean. That Colorado air is messing with you, man. All right, all the shenanigans are done. We miss you, Dean. TJ looks like he's ready to go. Let's do it.
Yeah, Brian in chat says he's agreeing with you guys and disagreeing with me. Something about the bad slates are so enjoyable. He says, "Hey, Dean, go kick rocks." I mean,
oh man,
I hear you. TJ, you're embracing this nonsense, right? It's just it's gross.
I love the nonsense. I'm definitely pro nonsense.
Yeah,
especially in baseball. Like nonsense in basketball, nonsense in football is kind of ugly, but nonsense in baseball, I absolutely love nonsense in baseball because every single night of baseball is nonsense, and it's tough to not play it when there are some incredibly tempting options. But on these type of slates, you just get to embrace the nonsense, and I'm all for it.
So I was writing earlier today about Manaea. Manaea is like the pitcher I wrote up, but I didn't feel good about it. If you read what I put in the expert survey, I was not happy. It's just like by default, I guess this is the guy I'm going to write up. You talked about, or Chief talked about Detroit. Detroit is horrendous against lefties, but against righties, they're actually okay. They're like league average. And putting
you got that in reverse, Dean, I think.
They're better against lefties than they are against righties.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Manaea is a lefty, and like they're not as awful. They're not as poorly positioned as they typically would be. So I probably said that the wrong way. But like again, I like Max Fried, good solid pitcher, obviously, but not a K savant. Tony Gonsolin is overpriced and he's pretty fraudulent. He's been super lucky this season. Merrill Kelly's throwing baseballs today,
but he hasn't been though, Dean.
Who's this?
Everybody keeps saying Tony Gonsolin's been lucky, and we're literally like past half of the season.
Okay, what do you think his BABIP is in the season, Tony Gonsolin? His batting average on balls in play is 197. That's
I guess 180.
Fraudulent.
Ooh.
But it's not fraudulent though if the guy can generate ground ball outs.
So the ground ball.
When are we going to quit calling Tony Gonsolin is fraudulent? Should he be 10-2 on DK? No, but to say he's fraudulent, that's a stretch.
TJ, jump in here. Look, he's got an ERA of 2.02. The regression monster is coming. It already started.
What's his
in the All-Star game. The Sierra is almost twice as much as the ERA. It's 3.7, which is good, right? But he's not.
So I think that's exactly the issue right there. Is 3.7 is still good, so he's not fraudulent.
Well, he's not fraudulent.
Maybe not as good as he has been playing, but he's still a very good.
He's
pitcher.
misleading. Like he's not good. Okay, he's not going to have a 2.02 ERA.
He's not misleading anyone. Tell guys to actually put the ball in play without an out, and then we won't have this discussion.
His homer in the fly ball is 9.1%. That is lucky. His left on base percentage is 86%. That is extremely lucky. Everything about him is lucky.
Okay, look, we've spent too long talking about whether or not this is too lucky. We got almost 200 people watching already in the show, so a reminder, every 50 likes, we are hitting ourselves a nice Spidey bomb. And the reason why I wanted to interrupt you guys is because we're almost 20 minutes into this show, and we still haven't even talked about the best pitcher on the slate.
Okay. I'm not sure who the best pitcher on the slate is, to be honest. Do you think it's Manaea? I don't know if it is Manaea.
We talked about him. It's Aaron Ashby today. I don't know if you've looked at that Colorado lineup that came out, but we got no Chris Bryant in there. They're obviously outside of Coors Field, and it's still not as menacing against lefties as it typically is. Aaron, he threw an opening game, his 2 games ago. It was his first game back from injury. The game after that, he had an opening start. So people are going to look at that game log and get a little bit frightened, which is why I think he's only going to see about the 20-ish% range of ownership today. But we got no Chris Bryant in that lineup. I'm all aboard Ashby today.
You're right. I think he's especially interesting is a Fanduel where he's pretty cheap. He's 7.7 on DK as well, but I actually ranked him as my number 1 pitcher today on Fanduel, dollar for dollar. I don't know if he gets to 6 because when was the last time he threw 6 innings? I feel like it's been a while. 6.4 was the last time he threw 6 innings. You know, obviously you want that quality start, but opportunity cost of pitcher today is not that extravagant. I did miss that Bryant wasn't in there, so I do agree that's a nice bump for him. He pitched on 3 days rest and got beat up against San Francisco, but I assume he's back to throwing 80 pitches. Like he's not going to throw 90, 95 or 100. So again, that is hurting his ceiling. But against his contemporaries, TJ, on this slate, like I wouldn't be shocked if Ashby's the highest scorer. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and I mean, on a slate like today where there are bats to pay up for, we don't even necessarily need the highest score as much as the highest score point per dollar. So I like him quite a bit on FanDuel today, and I agree. He's definitely not the best option on DraftKings where he's priced up and you can get somebody like Manaea for just a little bit more. You can get Brubaker even cheaper. I like Brubaker better on DraftKings than I do Aaron Ashby, but on FanDuel, I adore Ashby today.
So it is worth mentioning. I know Will was talking about the pitcher for Chicago. Samson, you mentioned Brubaker. Positive pitching environment today in Chicago. If you fire up Kevin Roth's chief meteorologist, the Weather Edge tool, 176 game sample, a decrease in homers we've seen at 24%. These are obviously kind of inept offenses as is. 72 degrees, 6 mile per hour, kind of sort of coming in from right center. So it looks like a good pitching environment. I think the total in that game is relatively low as well. Scrolling to find it, but I think it was around 8. Yeah, it's 8 with Brubaker and Sampson. I know Dave Potts, Jesus Good was talking about Brubaker like as one of his favorite pitchers. And again, just favorite by default. I wrote that my bold call today is that Jake Odorizzi is the top scoring pitcher in the slate. He's not even going to be spectacular. He's just going to be the top guy by default. I think he's going to be okay. But he's another guy that I'm willing to play. I'm not happy about it. But TJ, you want to expand on Brubaker?
Yeah, he's got a high strikeout matchup. There's a small win, but it's in a park that maximizes the win, and it's blowing in. He's not a guy that I think we're going to be able to get a 50, 60 point game from, but I don't think we need that today. And so he's facing a high strikeout lineup. He's solid enough. And so I think that's kind of all you're going to need on today's slate.
He's well stretched out too. Like I think he's thrown like between 90 and 100 pitches in the last so many starts he's had as well. I'm trying to pull that up on the fly. 7.4 on DK. Yeah, 99 pitches last time, 100, 94, 94, 105, 106, 99. So like we presume he's going to get somewhere in the 90s. Eric in chat, the flag carrier for the Oakland A's, said it's not a bold call that Odorizzi. He says the A's are the greatest team in baseball, and how is it not a bold call that I'm saying Odorizzi is going to be the top scorer on the slate? And again, it's not going to be a big number. I just don't think anybody puts a big number. Jump in here, Chief. What are your thoughts as far as Brubaker, if you want to bring Odorizzi into the conversation? This is the nonsense we have to talk about.
Yeah, I don't mind Jake Odorizzi at all. Like the only thing is he's facing Oakland for the third time in a row. So I do have slight concern there. So I'm just deciding to get Odorizzi exposure through props rather than actual DFS. So I mean, his K prop is around 4.5 most places. That's just silly. So give me Odorizzi in terms of props, but I think he's really expensive on FanDuel, and so if I'm going to play Odorizzi, I'm just going to go up and play Manaea against Detroit. Max Fried, I don't love. He just kind of priced out, and then after that, I don't hate Brubaker. Like Brubaker's okay. I know you asked me about Odorizzi. I'm just going on down the list here on FanDuel. Like Odorizzi, don't love Odorizzi, so I think he's overpriced. And then after that, I mean Ashby at 74, of course, but Sampson's my guy tonight. After that, I'm not touching anybody else. Like everybody else is not in a good enough spot for me to take a chance.
Odorizzi 7.8 on DK is playable. Yeah. I think you're looking on FanDuel where he's like 9 something, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. I like him more on DK than I do on FanDuel. Like you can play Flexen. I'm not going to argue with you. You can play Kelly. If you want to play Merrill Kelly, I'm not going to say you're wrong. It's just a big blob of meh. Nothing looks spectacular to me. I actually bet Odorizzi over 4.5 strikeouts. I believe I bet it on DK at like 105. I felt pretty good about that. And I did bet Brubaker. You know what? Let's
bump Odorizzi even more because Seth Brown just got placed on the paternity list.
Isn't Seth Brown a guy that's willing to strike out too? Well, they're going to replace him with somebody worse, right?
And like that's their other than Laureano, that's one of their only 2 power bats in the lineup against right-handed pitching, really.
Yeah, like Brown is the only guy in the green as far as ISO. Well, no, yeah, you're right. Laureano is also in the green, but he also strikes out a good bit. But they're probably going to replace him with somebody kind of terrible. Was it Keith? Somebody wrote an article today. Let's see. Let's go ahead and show some love to the Scores and Odds stuff. Of course, Scores and Odds are a premium product, but we do have free articles. I will drop them in chat for the people. This is Keith Eister. He's got some pitching props, some overs, some unders. Chris Flexen, Baker.
My pitching props are going up real soon.
Okay.
Oh, I got fire coming today.
Are you giving them to the people here or what?
No. I'm going to put it on Scores and Odds, people. Scores and Odds.
So this is this the other one I liked? Yes. So Tim, Tasteful Tides, he had a take on Brubaker over 16.5 outs on DK. I bet that one too. I feel like he's 16.5 outs. He's not going to go 5 2/3. Come on. I think he can. I hope he can. We did bet it legally here in the state of Colorado. If you guys have any questions, feel free to fire them off in chats. Again, we're here for the next hour or so till we yield to the Crunch Time crew, which is Squirrelpatrol, Roth, and DerekCarty. Also, producer Devin is feeling especially generous today. We gave it out on Friday. We'll do it again today. We're going to give – you see all the fabulous tools they're showing off? We can't run them all down. Who's got time? We don't have time to give it off. But you see them on screen as far as the plate IQ, the lineup HQ, the umpire data, the projections, the ownership, expert survey, expert rankings, all that good stuff. Dave Potts' article. You can have at it. You can get that for 1 week free. How do you go about getting that for 1 week free? Join us in the Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord/live stream chat. There is going to be a party popper, like a bell to click. Just click that bell. You are automatically eligible. Randomly, one person will be drawn to get 1 week free of RG Premium. You also get golf stuff. You get MMA stuff. Anything that's in season, anything that's going down with the exception of NASCAR, F1 as well. So, go ahead. Have at it. Get yourself 1 week free. Get a taste. Enjoy it.
1 like away from starting the show with a Spidey bomb.
Shannon says no interest in Merrill Kelly. Typically I wouldn't care, TJ, that Merrill Kelly's pitching. I'm like, whatever. He's a guy. He's one of those not really picking on him, not really rostering him, barely acknowledge his existence. But amongst his contemporaries today, I think he's in the pool. I think he's playable. What are your thoughts as Kelly? Kelly, a late addition to the Arizona lineup, Gilbert was supposed to start. He's no longer starting. But where do you have Kelly? And I don't think he's going to get much love because he's Merrill Kelly and also because he was a late addition.
I don't really have any love for him on FanDuel just based on, yes, it's a gross pitching slate, but I don't really see much of a ceiling for him at 9,700. I just don't want to get there. I'd rather get the other guys in that tier, pay all the way down for somebody like Ashby. On DraftKings, where he's 8,500, I definitely think he's in the mix as an SP2 or maybe even your SP1 on today's slate. But on FanDuel, I don't have a lot of interest at 9,700.
I see Kirkwood in chat. I'm curious who Kirkwood likes today because he usually throws out a name that's just kind of off the wall and that well researched. And I'm curious if he's got a stand in anybody. Kirkwood, give us the goods. Who do you like? Because I'm still sort of trying to figure it out. And it's almost one of those things, TJ, where I'm making my hitting lineups and whatever pitchers fit. I'm doing it in reverse. Are you finding yourself doing the same thing, or is that just me?
Similarly, I've kind of almost have been making the first half of my lineup, then deciding if I want to be plugging in a cheap pitcher or an expensive pitcher, and then going from there. And I'll adjust it, and I won't be that firm on my pitcher. If I need to go up 500 or down 500, very willing to do so. But I like to get my first stack first, and then figure out if I'm going to be pairing them with a cheap guy or an expensive one.
A's lineup is out. Machine leading off. Loreno batting second. Murphy, Pinder, Anders, Piscotty is DHing. Kemp, Skybolt, incredible name, not an incredible stick. And then Allen is batting ninth. And you know what? Kirkwood likes Ashby as well. I like him too. I think he can do well in 5 innings. I don't know if he goes much beyond that. He still was given 6, 7, 8 days. He's well rested. I know he had that one on 3 days, give it 1 inning, but I'm not terribly thrown off by that. He's never going to go 100 pitches anyway. Junis is something they're talking about in chat. Chief,
I saw it every time he popped up on projections, he had a tiny one, so I kind of assumed his workload wasn't full.
You're talking about Junis?
Yeah.
Let's see what Carty has as far as his projected pitch count or his baseline. It's probably not terribly high. Yeah, okay, so he's got him projected at 39 pitches. If that is the case, or even close to 39, he's unplayable.
Yeah, I think it's an opening type situation.
Yeah, don't play that guy at all. Just don't.
He pitched 7-8 days ago, 34 pitches. He did throw 92 and 96. Yeah, I don't really know what the situation is there, but yeah, I'm not playing him. He's not. There's a lot of bad pitchers or murky pitchers, and he's not. He's not making the list for me. It's just unacceptable.
Before his game that he was an opener on 3 days rest, Aaron Ashby, how many pitches do you think he threw the game before that?
You're talking about Ashby?
Yeah.
I would guess no more than 90.
101.
Really? Okay.
Then he's had some games 72, 62, 79, but before that 104, 93, 100, 91. So I on a slate where the pitching is gross, I see him as kind of the only one, or maybe not the only one because I think Manaea or Fried could as well. But I see Ashby for his price as the most likely pitcher to just break the slate.
Yeah. If there's one pitcher that has like 9 strikeouts tonight, it could be him. Yeah. I'm okay with that assessment.
I also think he's the only guy down cheap who has the potential to match. Now, maybe Brubaker on DraftKings where he's cheaper, but like I think Ashby's raw points could match Manaea's and Fried's, even if they have solid games.
Nobody has a median projection as far as strikeouts today above 6, which is sort of speaks to the slate as well as far as the opportunity cost as far as pitchers. Let's talk ownership. Going to jump on DK and Fanduel. Going to go back and forth on both of these. And I know the people have their umpire data as well. Not all games are settled just yet as far as the umpires because it's a Monday, the start of a bunch of new series. Manaea and Hutchison, they drew an extreme hitters umpire. That is the only extreme we have for what it's worth. Let's see. As far as ownership, going to look at DK first. I think I'm surprised, TJ. I'm surprised that we have a pretty flat. We got Fried at 26, 27%. I feel like that's a little high. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like that's a little high. Ashby at 24%. I feel like it's a little bit low. I feel like Manaea's a little low at 24% also. And Odorizzi at 20%, then Brubaker at 20. So it's really condensed. Flexing at 17, but I think Ashby and Manaea coming higher than Fried. Maybe I'm wrong in that.
Got to refresh, Dean.
I got to click the refresh button. Unbelievable. Rookie mistake.
Unbelievable, this guy. But I do think it will be relatively. I do think it'll be relatively balanced as well, because if you just look at the difference between the BAT projections and RG projections and other projection systems throughout the industry, they're all over the place with these pitchers today because like everyone is different. And that's because none of them are all that good. And the ones that are like Manaea is good. But is he 35% on a big slate good? No. Max Fried is very good, but he has a potentially high upside matchup, but also one that has quite a bit of power in the lineup in the best hitting environment weather-wise on the slate. So it's like those two options are good, but they're not crazy pick up a ton of ownership good. And so because of that, I do think we're going to see it relatively spread out today.
By the way, worth mentioning that Colorado lineup, while not good, it's contact heavy. There's Crone and there's Hampson and McMahon as well too. But besides those guys, it's pretty contact heavy. 19% collectively as far as striking out versus lefties this season. And for the first 5, Blackman 12.8%, Daza 10%, Rogers 13%, Iglesias 12.5%. Just worth noting. And Ashby probably, maybe, I suppose he can make it all the way through 3 times. But if he sees like the top half guys 3 times, and the bottom half of guys just 2 times, he's facing a lot of contact guys. I'm not here, again, to besmirch Ashby in this season, 27% as far as strikeouts. Walks too many guys, but this lineup, while they're contact heavy, they do not walk. 7% collectively, especially up top. They are super impatient. Blackman at 4%, Daza at 5.6%, Iglesias at less than 3%. Richick at 5.
That's the biggest reason I like him, to be honest. It's not even the strikeouts. It's that it's a guy who typically struggles with walks, and he gets 61% ground balls to right-handed batters. And so in a lineup that he's facing 7 righties and they are not patient, I'm okay if the strikeouts don't really get racked up as long as he's picking up innings. He's a good enough strikeout guy that he's gonna pick up one every once in a while. So I'm just, as long as he's not walking everybody, I'm happy. And it does. And with this lineup, with the 2 highest walk guys also being the 2 highest strikeout guys, he's got an extreme pitching umpire today. He's my favorite by a long shot.
Did I miss that? Is that one of the other extremes? Was that part of me not hitting refresh before?
Or maybe that was on me and it has been refreshed, and maybe it's just a regular pitching one, but it was extreme pitching before, just regular pitching.
Okay. And like, again, it's a Monday. So like a lot of times, sometimes, not a lot, but it happens where we just happen to have the wrong the umpire data is like can change out of nowhere sometimes late as far as the assignments. I saw a really funky question in chat. I just think it's worth addressing, Chief. Do you think, Chief, what about playing a Brave stack with Ranger Suarez? Is that good leverage? That seems too ambitious for me.
Yeah, don't do that. It looks like we lost Chief. He's frozen on the screen. But
I wasn't watching the video.
You don't need to play Ranger Suarez today, and you definitely don't need to play him if you're playing Braves.
What's the scenario that like that works out? Like Ranger Suarez gives up like 3 solo jobs to your stack, and then like the Braves hit the bullpen hard. Like, what is you really got to
on a slate this big? There isn't one. Like, yes, maybe if the Braves put up a ton late like they did against Ohtani, something like that. But like, I just don't see it on a slate this big. If he's the one giving it up, or if it's the bullpen late, like no, don't do it.
Well, the Kluber, is he kind of sort of somewhat interesting? Like, again, he's not amazing, but he's okay, and nobody's spectacular. Good control guy. The K's, not great. What is he, 36, 37, 38? He's an old dude these days. I saw somebody in chat asking about Kluber. Mr. Richard was asking about Kluber in chat, and if I'm running 150, I'm not. But I think Kluber would be in my pool. I wouldn't grab a ton, but I'm okay with it. He's more in there than some other guys.
I did have Kluber in my pool initially, but he's basically right on the cut line from my MMEing today. I'm not going to have any Kluber. And the biggest reason for that was essentially I was looking at my pitching pool, and all of the gross guys that I'm taking shots on, I feel like have higher ceilings than he does, or I'm getting bigger savings. So because of that, I just ended up leaving him out of my pool.
We got Booby in chat saying he is joining the Thunderdome tonight with Suarez and Greinke. No one will be on my guys. Isn't the Thunderdome like 12 people or 15 people on DK? Several thousands of dollars to enter. I've never played it before. I think that's what it is, though, correct?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not a big DK guy. Chief, tell us about the Thunderdome.
No, I was just answering because I was coming right back in. So look, for whatever reason,
storms there. What's going on there, Chief?
Well, you know how it is in Charleston, man. We have a storm every day, like during this time of the year. But so it looks like it's not the storm this time, though. It's freaking Spectrum Cable. What they said is an outage has been reported in your area. We are working on it, and services will be restored by 6 p.m. Eastern time. You can get outage updates in the My Spectrum app. At any rate, it looks like it's going in and out. I'm going to power through this show, folks, because I care about you. I care about your lineups, and I care about you putting more money in your pockets after this show and before you started this show. So what were we talking about, Dean? I'm so sorry, folks. Just bear with me here.
Booby in chat was talking about playing the Thunderdome. I don't know if he is or isn't. I have no idea. And Kirkwood says just 8 people. Yeah, I know it's pretty exclusive, maybe a 5K or something like that to enter. And playing Greinke and Suarez. And an 8-person tournament, that seems really, really ambitious and unnecessary to play Suarez and Greinke. If that stuff hits, you want to get paid in a bigger – I mean, obviously you're going to get paid there too, but, nobody else is playing them. I'll say that. Feel pretty confident. Maybe Greinke, just because he opens everything up in the world and he's cheap enough as like an SP2. And we know the Angels are horrendous. It's just Ohtani and a bunch of guys. It's just an awful, awful lineup these days. Trout's, who knows when he's going to come back. Maybe he might get shut down at some point this season. I think he just had a cortisone shot. Doesn't have a timetable to return. They're going to be out of it soon enough if not already mathematically, right? Does anybody have a take on Greinke? Like just get a 12.7% case. But again, this Angels lineup, TJ, is 30% strikeouts. It's insane.
It's a horrific lineup and a bad slate, so I have him slightly in the pool for 150 today.
Yeah, I think you can. I think you can do it. Dave, he's as good. He was writing in his article today talking about, I think he was saying, like, if there's one pitcher I can think of that, like, despite the fact that the Angels are so terrible, like, how much is his K is actually going to move up incrementally? Maybe a little bit, I suppose, but that K rate is so bad. Good ballpark to pitch in, but again, that lineup is really, really awesome. Goslin, Adele, Stassi, Walsh over 30%, Marsh over 30%, Velasquez 35, 36%. Just pop in there as far as our strikeouts. But let's get the summary here, Will, as far as pitchers. Trying to see if there's anybody else that's worth talking about or the chat's throwing out. But I think we knocked them all out, and I still don't know where we're at. But what's your summary, Chief?
I mean, look,
also, I just want to say quick, no Jesse Winker in the lineup today. So if we're planning on playing him, do not.
All right. All the Glenn Otto. Maybe not.
Negative. Don't play Glenn Otto.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, Will, what do you have as far as your approach as far as pitchers tonight?
I mean, like I said, I'm in like on FanDuel. I'm in on this cheap group here. I like them a lot. If you're on DK, I guess I didn't explain the cheap group. So for people that need me to get that back together, I'm going to have Adrian Sampson in my main team that I build. Do like Aaron Ashby as well. So those are kind of two guys that I really like. On DK, I definitely think Odorizzi's a lot more in play. Then of course that's where Manaea is really going to pick up ownership at 8,800. And I like Sampson there as well. I think Sampson's 6,800 on DK. Like him a lot. So that's kind of where I am, man. I'm really in the cheap. I'm in the cheap seats tonight. But trust me, when we get to the bats, I'm going to be in the royal boxes because I want to spend some money there for sure.
TJ, we didn't run down the pitcher ownership, projected ownership on FanDuel. Just want to acknowledge that before I throw it to you. What is that noise? Somebody's sitting.
That was my chair rubbing against the desk.
Dean thought you had a whoopee cushion.
Somebody pulling pranks on you. And the dog Spidey or something like that snuck one on your seat when you weren't looking. So FanDuel has, as far as our projected ownership, has Ashby number one because he is really cheap there, 7.4K. TJ, 22%, free to 22% as well. Manaea at just 10, Brubaker 8, Gonsolin 7. Odorizzi's kind of overpriced on FanDuel, but he can eat some innings in theory against a terrible, inept Oakland offense. Good ballpark as well. Where are you at as far as pitchers? And feel free to focus on FanDuel also.
So yeah, we do have Fried projected as the highest at 21% right now, and Ashby second at 16%, I believe.
So you know what it is?
Gotta refresh, Dean.
I don't want to cut you off. I apologize, but I think what it is I have the bat projections, and you probably have the RG projections, which are similar but not the same, and that's what's going on here.
Yeah, I think that is what it is there, and Aaron Ashby is projected a little bit higher on the bat than he is in the RG projections as well. So I think that's probably factoring into it a little bit. Ashby's my favorite because I think he's going to come in just kind of around that 20% range. And I think we're going to see Fried around there as well. I think we're going to see Manaea around there as well. And I don't think we really have to worry about ownership on this slate on FanDuel today, to be honest. I think the only place you might have to worry is, sorry?
Are you making 150?
Yeah, I have one main lineup, and then I'm running 150.
Okay, I go ahead. You had more of a thought to continue, and I just kind of jumped the gun. But go ahead.
No worries. Other than the Dodgers today on FanDuel, I don't think we have to worry about ownership in any spaces.
I think Zoomer is trolling us in chat. I'm just reading his last several comments. Suarez is better on Mondays. Okay, maybe, probably not. Do you guys like the over on Rowdy to leave stolen base? What a great question. Low chance, but what if the catcher is struggling? What if?
I love that. I love that explanation.
There was a catcher many years ago. Was it Mackie Sasser for the Mets who couldn't throw the ball to second base, which basically then he was out of the league because that's a problem. But I don't think that's the case right now. Also, thank you, Michael, in chat. You mentioned no Winker. You buried the lead, TJ. No J-Rod also.
Oh, no Julio Rodriguez. I missed that too.
Yeah, Domingo Santana smashes on Mondays. Domingo, I think Domingo is Spanish for Sunday, though, isn't it? Is it not? That's a Kirk D's thing, and I've taken 4 years of Spanish. I should know that. Lunes, martes, miércoles. I think it gets to Domingo at the end. I don't know. My Spanish is a little bit rusty, but I'm pretty sure Domingo is Sunday. Anybody? Can anybody confirm, deny? Yeah?
Ooh. I feel terrible because Oh,
That's
okay.
okay. All right. Do we have anything else, TJ, as far as
Sunday? Dean, you win because El Sábado is for sure Saturday.
Yes, there you go. Sábado for sure. Yeah, my Spanish is rusty. TJ, you got anything else as far as pitchers, or shall we talk about the fabulous stacks that we have looking at us right in the face?
Well, at this point, I'm just trying to figure out that if running 150 lineups, do I maybe want to have Glenn Otto in the pool now?
Oh no, really? Just because? I mean,
who's he facing?
I mean, Ty France and Suarez, Raleigh. It's not a great lineup. Moore and Haggerty is pretty rough at the back, but like it just doesn't seem. Well, what's the best case scenario for Glenn Otto?
40 points.
Yeah. Jose Rios is trolling us too because you're not playing Junis. I hope you're trolling us. Do not play Junis and Cash. How about this? Don't play Junis. Not for anything. Whatever contest
you are not allowed to play Jacob Junis today.
If you're playing low ball, though, he's like the nuts for low ball, I think. I feel like, well, yeah, he's a pretty good low ball play. Yeah, I don't know, man. I wouldn't play Glenn Otto in a 150 scenario. It's a good ballpark, and they're missing 2 good hitters in Seattle. I hear you. He's just, I wouldn't do it. Well, what do you think, Will, as far as Otto? Is this Seattle lineup inept enough to run out some the palindrome here, Glenn Otto?
I still don't want to play Otto.
I don't want to play him either, but it's like I said earlier, we're embracing the nonsense. If we're talking about playing Zach Greinke and
I'm not playing Zach Greinke
and Adrian Sampson, then I think we have to. I think we have to.
Different level.
Sampson's not that much better than Greinke, for the record.
He is today.
He's better for. Well, I don't know because the Angels are strike out a lot too. I'm sure you've heard.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Adrian Sampson strikes out 10% of lefties and 23% of righties, and he's expected to face 2 right-handed bats. So that means we're looking at him with a 11% strikeout rate on all but 2 bats today in the lineup. And if you go over there and you look at my guy, who I'm, to be clear, joking, I don't like Glenn Otto. This is another guy we're talking about playing in 3 or 4 lineups of 150. But we scoot over to Glenn Otto today, and he's got a 17% strikeout rate to lefties and an 18% strikeout rate to righties. And we're looking at a lineup that all of a sudden doesn't have Winker or Rodriguez in it. So they got some decent strikeout guys matched in with the low strikeout guys in that lineup. But everyone who's a low strikeout guy, we're not that worried about anyways. So Glenn Otto is on par with Zach Greinke and Adrian Sampson today, fellas.
If the par is just so low, though, like the bar is like.
I'm not playing Glenn Otto for what it's worth. And I've seen Adrian Sampson get 8 strikeouts in a game this season.
Have we seen Otto do that? I feel like we haven't.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I've seen Zach Greinke.
No.
I think Zach has gotten up to 5 strikeouts this season on multiple occasions. These are the facts, people.
Austin Voth in chat, and the problem with him is he just doesn't go very deep. Also, he's not very good, but the Tampa lineup will strike out a ton. I want to satisfy Burger Fan 69's question.
Glenn Otto got up to 7 Ks in 1 game, and that was against.
I think his pitch count is the reason why we're not worried. We're not playing Austin Voth. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think we're wanting to get to Voth there, but I'm going to assume that anytime Adrian Sampson has had a big strikeout day, which his highest this season is 5, by the way. He's never had more than 5 strikeouts this year. I'm assuming those would be against right-handed heavy teams, which he is not facing today.
Oh, you're correct. I'm so sorry. Listen, I lied to the people. People, I've deceived you unintentionally. Super sorry about this. It was not Adrian Sampson. It was Steele.
Justin Steele?
It was Justin Steele.
He's had his moments.
Yeah,
if Justin Steele was playing Pittsburgh today, I'd be loading up on Justin Steele at that price.
Oh, yeah.
Either way,
lefties
I'm still playing Adrian Sampson today against Pittsburgh.
We had a question about weather. I went ahead and dropped Kevin Roth's weather forecast. Nothing that I'm afraid of just yet, but just monitor it. Roth will be on in 40 minutes or so. Let you guys give you a better update, a better read as far as what he wrote hours ago. We're seeing green, yellow in Kansas City, yellow in Boston. That was the question specifically as far as Boston. I know we got Kirk D's lurking his boots in the ground there in Boston. And yellow, green in Philadelphia, green, yellow in Baltimore. So nothing I'm freaking out just yet as far as weather-wise. I do want to mention again, if you guys join us late, some people jump in late, obviously. We are giving away another week free of RG Premium. Devin, if you can drop that link in chat, if you don't mind, to the Discord, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Jump in the live stream chat channel. Just hit that party popper. It's active, and it makes yourself eligible. Just click the bell, click the button, click the party popper, and you got yourself a 1 in, 15, 20 chance, depending on how many people actually click it. Get yourself 1 week free of RG Premium, all the bells, all the whistles, everything you see on the screen, and everything we talk about, everything we reference. Feel free to hit that in the Discord channel. Anything else here, TJ? Or are we talking stacks in a second?
Let's talk some bats because we are closer to the second Spidey bomb than we are the first, and we haven't even announced the first one yet. So it's time to talk some bats. Time to give some home run picks. This is early in the show to have almost 300 people watching right now. So hit that like button. Sponsored by Fanduel, free content courtesy of them, and we'll give you some home run plays. I know Chief's going to have some home run plays at 100 likes as well. So the first Spidey bomb of the day is going to be Josh Naylor. We get one every 50 likes, and they get less and less chalky as we roll here. So the first one is going to be Josh Naylor. On FanDuel, we're only projecting him for about 4% ownership today. I like him quite a bit.
I'll play along too, but Chief, go ahead. Give us your homer.
Oh man, Jose Ramirez.
Well, you said 3 earlier, so yeah, spoiler alert. This is just for 1. You think he's going to – well, why not Stephen Kwan? You were so confident about Kwan hitting one earlier.
We're 9 likes away from 100, and I got to say, someone's almost burying the lead of my second Spidey bomb. So you got to hit the like button quick so I can say it before they steal it from me.
Well,
I'm going to say and this is
Stephen
a
Kwan may hit one today as well.
Well, May is not – anybody may. Like Yolmer Sanchez may homer.
Dean, I'm just doing that because you're trying to mush Stephen Kwan, and he's gonna crush your heart and dreams today.
I don't have that ability. I wish I did. Frank Waddell says TJ loves him some Naylor because he's a fellow Canadian. Yeah, he's from Mississauga. Is that why? Is it you're
Mississauga? You don't pronounce the U,
dude. I got close enough, closer than most. But yeah, you're right. Fair enough.
100 likes. Second Spidey bomb of the day for the Detroit Tigers against the chalky Sean Manaea. Javi Baez is hitting a dinger today.
Dude, I was just going to say, you first of all, you lapped me. You went out of order because I've never given my first one. And my first one was going to be Javi Baez.
Too bad. I got it in. Other people were talking about Detroit in chat. I had to steal it. No, I don't steal other people's content. I have to get it out before you. Make sure I get it out nice and early.
That's so funny. That was my guy. It's a perfect leverage homer guy against Manaea, and I think Manaea is going to be a little bit more owned than we're projecting right now. Of course, that stuff changes. We're still an hour plus. So now I guess I owe
Don't
2.
worry, I do have another home run call.
I got to regroup, so go ahead. I yield, and now I got to fire off a couple. But go ahead, Will.
Corey Seager, man.
I like that.
Facing Chris Flexen.
I like that.
It's going down.
He's fine.
It's going down. Well, he's got a 15% K rate, 203 ISO, and guess what? Do you know who Chris Flexen is, Dean, by chance?
I'm aware of his existence.
Do you think Chris Flexen is a good pitcher?
He's fine. He's not, I'm not afraid.
Chris Flexen is the fraud that Dean thinks Tony Gonsolin is.
No, but now you're just putting words in my
Listen,
mouth.
now this is limited bat at ball events, okay? So I'm aware of this. I understand it. I get it. This is limited bat at ball events. If he gets fastball and he's going to get it, they're going to sit on it. Corey Seager's got a 1.125 ISO, not a 125, an 1125. Let's go with that. He's got an 805 WOBA, a 57% hard hit rate, and an 82.61% contact rate. Really excited to get some Corey Seager at shortstop, especially when I'm spinning down at pitching and I can play whoever I want. So I can't wait to see Corey Seager.
It's a great blender.
send one out of the park. It's going to be glorious.
Is Blender the funnest person to make an impression of? I feel like he's got to be in the podium if nothing else. Easiest too, pretty easy, I think. Yeah. My homer, I've been scrambling because you stole mine, TJ, out of order. I'm going to jump at my first one. Is this chalky? I don't know, but Kyle Tucker. I like Jordan. I like Tucker. I like this Houston team against this pitcher for Oakland. And Chief was talking about samples and small samples. Aller so far, 27 innings pitched in the majors, 2.63 homers per 9, ton of fly balls as well, 47% fly balls. Not missing any bats, literally more walks than strikeouts. That's a problem. 13.9% walks, 13% Ks. Really like that Houston stack. It might be a late lineup because who knows what's going on with Jordan. Maybe they're going to work him out before the game. He's dealing with a wrist or a thumb. Some part of his hand is dinged. So maybe that might suppress that lineup for an hour or two. We'll see how that goes down. And now I owe a second one. And my second homer is going to be, let's see. Now I'm just stalling. You threw me off. Let's take.
I have that effect on people, Dean. I leave them speechless.
Hunter Renfroe. How about that? Does that do anything for you?
I like it.
All right. Let's speak on the stacks. And the Dodgers are the only team amongst everybody playing baseball tonight. There's a team total above 5, despite the fact all the pitchers are just sort of whatever. If you look at our consensus rankings as far as stacks, myself, Dave Potts, Head Chopper, Mr. Tuttle, every single one of us, we put the Dodgers first as far as stacks today. Consensus-wise, it's Dodgers, Houston, Atlanta, Milwaukee, San Diego got a little bit of love, Cleveland got a little bit of love, and Tampa got a little bit of love. But, there's not a lot here. Again, baseball, anything can happen. But the Dodgers are the best team on paper. You know how paper goes down as far as stacks and predictability. TJ, you agree the Dodgers are number one? How you handling the Dodgers? I think you said earlier in the show, that's like the one thing that they'll be alarmed about as far as ownership, especially guys like Betts and Freeman. And if you're not spending up on pitchers, you're going to have money for that. Talk about that as far as your stack approach, and specifically start with the Dodgers, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so the Dodgers are my top stack on the board, and my method to get different than the field today is I'm doubling them. I have 45% of my 150 lineups are Dodger stacks right now. The next tier for me is Houston, Cleveland, Atlanta, and Milwaukee. That's my tier 2. That's who I have the most of after that. And then it drops into basically just a tier of the rest of the slate.
You're running 150. How are you handling that as far as setting? Are you Xing out any teams? Are you setting it up 4-4, 4-3, 4-2? What's your strategy as far as setting things up?
So today here, it always depends based on the slate, based on how many one-offs there are out there that I like. I got 50% 4-4s, 40% 4-3s, and 10% 4-2s. And then I did X out a couple teams. I not so much X out as much as just I don't have them in the stack pool. So examples of those teams are, I'm not going to have any full Philly stacks, but I got quite a few mini stacks and one-offs. Not quite a few, just a couple. I don't have any Detroit full stacks, but I have a lot of Javi Baez. I don't have any Pittsburgh full stacks. I don't have any Colorado full stacks. No San Francisco, no Oakland, no Washington. Those are the teams that I kind of drew the line at on a large slate like this one. I still want to make sure I'm getting above the field on my favorite slate, so I had to cut some teams out. But it's the Dodgers up top there in almost half my lineups. Then it's Houston, Atlanta, Cleveland, and Milwaukee are my next tier. And other than that, it's every other team except for those who I've X'd out just in the 5 to 10% range.
Chief, how about your approach as far as stacks today?
Yeah, I don't. And for what it's worth, I'm playing more single entry tonight, so I'm not going to have a full stack today. I am going to have a mini Cleveland stack, and it might just be a 2-man. I'm kind of going to be in the one-off scenario, and I think I'm going to end up with a 3-man for Cleveland, for what it's worth, the more I think about it. On FanDuel.
Who else?
What's that?
Quan and who else? J-Ram.
Yeah, Quan, Ramirez, and even though the K rate's really high, I think he's just a little bit too cheap, and so I might play Franmil Reyes today. So I mean, he's like in the 2K range, and he can definitely get a hold of not flexing, Jesus, Pavetta. So I think he's just a touch, if you will, too cheap, and I think he just kind of helps me plug it that I otherwise wouldn't have. Like if I go up to 3,500 versus, Franny being like 27, like to me, he's 23, 2,300 for Franmil Reyes. I mean, that really opens up the rest of it. So it's looking like I'm going to end up with a 3-man. I'll give you a part of my lineup. I got 3-man Cleveland stack. So Quan, J-Ram, Ramirez.
And Sampson.
I meant just bats.
Okay.
And so I'm going to play Freddie Freeman at first base just because I think he's got the best chance, even though he's really expensive. And I'm going to play Corey Seager at shortstop. So then it all comes down to what I do at second, what I do at my other outfield, what I do at utility. And so my possibilities here at this point are endless.
And there is enough cheap stuff that, like, salary, again, doesn't really matter to me. You're talking about Framo being super cheap, Pavetta, reverse Splitsy, the monster lurking there. I love him as a cheap play tonight. Like Castellanos is crazy cheap on FanDuel. There's a plethora of first basemen that are all super, super cheap. Brandon Belt now becomes more interesting with the righty starting as opposed to the lefty earlier in the day. Pasquantino, you got Walsh. There's a lot of cheap, like, lefty first base power that we'll talk about in a second. We go around the horn. Let's knock out catcher. Your favorite catcher tonight, TJ, and I'm curious how many catchers you're going to be getting on FanDuel, where, of course, you're not obligated to roster anybody.
So I do want to ask quick before we get to catcher is, as somebody I'm MMEing for the very first time today using the bat projections. Now, Dean, you're a vet with the bat. You've been using it for a while. Where do I find, is it in Lineup HQ or somewhere else? Where do I find the pinch hit risk for a player?
Yeah, so if you go to the bat, I actually have it up right now. You just got to keep scrolling and I think it's near the front. Actually, I'm on pitchers right now, so just give me 1 second as I get to it. And obviously, the stuff refreshes depending on, and I was thinking about the San Francisco lineup as well too. And there are 3 lefties lurking in that bullpen, and I don't know if San Fran's now going to start. They're probably not going to start all of, like, Flores and Ruff. Austin Slater might not start, right? But they might end the game, which certainly can change things up. But I'm saying words to buy time to get there as far as pinch hit risk. It is is near the end. Oh man, where is it at? There's fantasy.
So it's up on the screen share right now. Devin's got it up. The person I was interested in was Jake Lamb. He's at 42% today. Mm-hmm. The reason I'm so interested in him specifically is because he's batting 5th today for the Dodgers. Their lineup just came out and he's batting 5th. And so with that being said, I do have a little bit of interest in getting to him as a cheapie. I look at Washington's bullpen, and they do only have 2 left-handed guys in there. It's when I'm on a lot of these teams here where I'm playing Cleveland and the Dodgers, who I think are going to be the 2 highest owned teams on the slates. I have some moderate interest in just kind of swapping things, like, as opposed to Franmil Reyes in my lineup, maybe a little Jake Lamb, and have that actually be different than the field, even though it's with a chalky team. And that's something I think we got to monitor as
who's on the bench there, because I think Justin Turner is still hurt. I think
it's the lineup we were expecting, just a different order.
So I just think Lamb is DHing. I'm just trying to think. I was saying, maybe Thompson will come in. No, Thompson's actually starting. Yeah. So who would take Lamb's spot? I'm just trying to think who is the righty on that bench that would DH for Lamb when a lefty.
Alberto, maybe.
Who is it?
Alberto.
Yeah, Hanser Alberto. I think that's. I guess. But you're right. Like, there's a pretty decent chance if a lefty comes in, and also, like, Lamb is a lefty and Muncy's a lefty and Lux is a lefty. So if you're, the opposing team and you're trying to win games and you care about winning baseball games, that's probably the time when you bring in your lefty, when 3 lefties are up in a row, right? Lamb, Muncy, and Lux. It's kind of
Bellinger following them.
What's that?
And then Bellinger follows them.
Yeah, you're right. It's 4 lefties in a row, which is many managers try to avoid that, but that's interesting. But they could have put Muncy 4th, I suppose, and Smith 5 and kind of break them up a little bit. But yeah, so you have to imagine, of course, if the game's like 10-2 in the 5th, the manager probably doesn't care about lefty righty nonsense. They just want to, fill out the game, get it over with, and on to tomorrow. But if it's a tight game, situation calls for it. Almost definitely one of those lefties are coming in to take on those 4 in a row. Catchers, TJ, what do you have?
Yeah, so throwing it at catcher today, I think our top guy is obviously going to have to be Will Smith. He's affordable, on both sites. On DK, he's up above the 5K range, but there's a lot of those catchers up there that, like most of the guys we want to play, I think today at catcher are expensive. So I think you can play Will Smith, William Contreras, JT Realmuto, Travis d'Arnaud, Cal Raleigh, MJ Melendez. All of these guys are in play. I think I would really just be stack filling at this position. Maybe Cal. What's Cal Raleigh's price on DraftKings here? I got his FanDuel
3.9 off the dome, but he's really cheap on FanDuel, and he's got some power. And because some of those guys are out of the lineup, he's moved up to the 5 spot. So
yeah, so like he's somewhat interesting as a one-off. But like I think I'm probably just going to be stack filling today at this spot.
Well, we got to move on. If you want to add anything as catcher, by all means, go for it. But you can start first base if you want.
Well, let's do first base.
All right, dude. It's all you.
It's Freddie Freeman.
All right. Anything else?
First base? I gave you first base.
You want Freddie Freeman up top? You go Josh Naylor down low.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it. I like
saying
Cleveland anyway. Play Freddie Freeman and thank me later. Or not thank me because you're smart enough to know that you should play Freddie Freeman today.
And like I was saying before, I think there's a lot of cheap first basemen. You can get yourself a cheap homer today if you need it. Bobby Dahlback is in play and he's another guy. Boston's without Story. They're without Martinez. They're without Devers. The lineup is horrific, and Dahlback is benefiting. He's batting, he's batting 7th, right? Sometimes he bats 9th or 8th. They moved him up a little bit. But I believe he's also facing a reverse splits guy in Fenway. Walker is pretty cheap these days, but like Walsh is super cheap on both sites. I just think you can get yourself a cheap homer. And Belt. I think Belt's really, really cheap on FanDuel. And
Can I give out my favorite prop of the day while we're at it?
Yeah.
And this is sports books too, by the way. This is sports books. Jake Odorizzi at over 4.5 plus 110. Like that's
I already bet that at 105.
That's crazy.
Well, he's not great as far as striking people out, but
no, yeah. It's Dean. See, don't try to convince the people. It's not about whether he's great. It's about how easily do you think he hits the prop, or not easily. I don't care if they get on the last pitch in the last out of the game. Just get me 5, and I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, I like the over in that too. I just don't think it's going to be like super clean because Odorizzi strikes out like 18% of dudes. But all right, your first base thought, TJ. You chimed in. You have anything else to elaborate? Jason said I don't have any plays. I just name everybody. No, I'm like all those guys are in my pool. And like if I'm playing a Kansas City stack, I'm playing Pasquantino. If I'm playing, I'm not going to play a Boston stack, but I'm okay with Dahlback. You can also on DK play him at third base. He's just a salary saver if you need it. Of course, Freeman. Like if I'm stacking the Dodgers or even as like an a la carte, like a one-off play, sure, of course. And I probably have the money for that if I want to. I don't necessarily have a favorite amongst that group. I do rankings. If you hit that party popper, you can get access to the premium rankings. Myself, Dave Potts, Head Chopper, Tuttle. You can see how I like the guys 1 through 8. TJ, first base, anything else, or you want to jump to the old Keystone position second?
Freddie Freeman and Naylor are my 2 favorite ones, but I think it's important to note there are a lot of guys at this position that nobody's going to play that have quite high upside. Jared Walsh, Rhys Hoskins, Matt Olson, all strong plays, and they're going to have very low ownership. Second base today, I think my favorite guy that's not named, that's not a Dodger, is probably going to be Whit Merrifield. Great stealing guy leading off against Syndergaard. I think you can play Brandon Lau. But my favorites overall at the position, I kind of forgot that you could play Javi Baez here at second base, is Javi Baez. Yeah,
I think that's a little bit more of a FanDuel thing than a DK thing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, okay. Definitely. And another guy I want to throw in there as well is Andres Jimenez for Cleveland.
I think I'm going to be a little light in Cleveland. I hope they don't have a big day because I'll be in trouble. I think that's the one team. We'll see. But I just don't like their individual pieces. Of course, I love J-Ram, and I think Framo's super cheap, but you've already heard Bespert's Quan. I don't get Naylor's fine.
But Dean, if you're stacking a team, why do you care? Never mind. We got to move. We'll talk about it.
Well, I can't play everybody. I'm not running 150. You know what I mean? And I think Cleveland's probably a team that's going to be more likely. I'll be under the field. I'm not going to have 0, but I think I'll have less than most. I do agree that Lau is probably one of the best players in the slate. These prices got hiked up a little bit more these days on DK, but and I like Altuve. You know, Houston. I presume he's going to be leading off that Houston lineup on the road. Really good shot at those 5 ABs. What do you have here, Chief, as far as second?
Yeah, I'm definitely on board with Brandon Lau. I don't hate Ketel Marte in Arizona. I know that seems really weird, but I'm not expecting Junis to be in this game a lot. Maybe 2 innings. Well, no, I'm going to give him 3 to 4 innings today. Let's go with that. Let's say 3 to 4. Either way, I still like Ketel Marte up top. I think he's going to go overlooked just a tad. I also like Marcus Semien. I do like, not Houston, Texas. As much as I like Cleveland today, I'm just not a believer in Chris Flexen by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm trying to give people quick hitters, I don't want to try to give them everybody.
Yeah, and we only have about 10-ish, 15 minutes or so, depending on how quickly the Crunch Time crew comes in. You got, it's not Dave Potts, it's Squirrel Patrol. Dave wrote the article today, of course. Give him the night off. Squirrel Patrol, DerekCarty, and Roth tell you what's going to go on weather-wise, if there's anything to be alarmed about. And, I'm trying to keep an eye on chat as well if you guys happen to have any questions that pertain to the conversation. If you're talking third baseman, now it's time to throw him out. Let's see. Third base, I'll throw it to you, Will. Who? Well, you're going to give me 1 guy? You're going to give me 3 guys? You can't give 9. Jason will be upset. You can't name like 7 or 8 or 9. But I don't know what the perfect number is to name. 3, maybe 4. But who's your favorite third baseman tonight?
Jose Ramirez is absolutely my favorite. Oh, my second favorite second baseman. I missed him. Jake Cronenworth. Been on him since last night. Really like Cronenworth today in Detroit. Also at third, I really like Manny Machado. I think he's going to go overlooked a little bit here. And in fact, I think that's what I'm going to get done with my little 2-man right now. I'm going to go ahead and get Cronenworth on FanDuel. Go ahead and get Manny in there. And we're going to ride this thing out to the sunset. But yeah, love those guys at third.
What do you have here, TJ, as far as third?
Ramirez is the top option. Austin Riley is going to be my favorite pivot off of him.
I
kind of like Eugenio Suarez as a one-off option as well. Alex Bregman's going to be fine. And then that Jake Lamb predicament to go along with as a potential pivot off of Muncy.
Yeah, I mean, are you playing Lamb because he's a part of your Dodger stack? I'm guessing you don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to be one-offing him.
Yeah, you don't need the salary for him. Probably not. There's plenty of salary savers, right?
I've been finding a lot of lineups that I've been trying to make where I'm playing Jose Ramirez, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Yordan Alvarez. So I do need the salary.
Gotcha. You're just like maxing out on the big bats, the big boys, and even if you're not spending on pitcher necessarily, at some point you can't have every expensive stick. I love that rally call for tournaments. I don't have the ownership up in front of me, but I imagine it's distinctly lower, right, than J-Ram. It feels like an awesome pivot away.
It's about half right now.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be more than that, to be honest, my opinion, but these things change. Who am I to question the ownership stuff? Anything else at third of note here, TJ, or shall we talk about shortstop?
Taking it to shortstop because that's about it at third. It's a very similar position to me as third base because Trey Turner is the top option up top, just like Jose Ramirez as a third, but you got a Brave, Dansby Swanson, as a great pivot right off of him. I also like Willie Adames, Corey Seager in tournaments. I think those are both plays as well. And then if I got to go cheap, I'm picking 1 out of 2 guys unless it's filling out a stack. And those 2 guys are Jeremy Pena and Javi Baez.
Chief?
Nothing else to add, man. I'm on the same guy. But if you're asking me who I'm playing, it's absolutely Corey Seager.
Dude, if I was paying attention this whole show, I think I have your lineup. You gave me 3 guys in the Guardians. You gave me your pitcher. Now you got Seager. I mean,
got Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman. I think we know. We definitely know it's Freddie. It can't be anybody else.
It doesn't matter because it's off the wall enough that nobody else is going to do it anyways. So he's still going to be solo up there.
Yeah, I'm really not concerned, like at all.
No, I'm just challenging. I feel like I'm just trying to piece together what your lineup is now because I've been paying attention. I've been here the whole show. And Sampson's your pitcher. Freeman, 3 guys in the Guardians. Okay. Couple outfielders left. Maybe a utility spot to go. Let's see if that's revealed later on in the show. Let's knock out some outfielders. Speaking of outfielders, Betts, is the number one projected guy. He's obviously going to be leading. I presume he's going to be leading off. Well, yes, that lineup is out for the top stack on the board, the only stack projected above 5, facing kind of sort of a reverse splits pitcher, neutrals, nothing else. Righty on righty, and also a fly ball guy too. Not a great bullpen backing him up. I'll throw it to you, Chief, as far as, if you're playing Freeman, are you playing other Dodgers with him? Potentially, maybe Mookie Betts?
No, not playing Mookie tonight, but he's because I'm more single entry tonight than mass multi entry. So I'm trying to draw that line in the sand so people understand that. Love the Cleveland outfielders. I do really like Cody Bellinger quite a bit today. I know he's at the bottom of the order, but he's definitely on my list. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there. I like Cedric Mullins as a one-off against Corey Kluber. I think he's a touch too cheap on DK at 4K. Guy that can get fantasy points in multiple events. So I like him a lot. Jerks and Profar, like if I'm trying to get into a little mini San Diego stack, like you can get Profar for cheap. He's 3,800 on DK. And once again, Stephen Kwan is 3,500. So he's on my list.
He's going to hit a homer at like 7-11, the very first at bat of the game, and I'm going to be so tilted, and people are going to be smashing me on Twitter and my DMs and all that, but that's all right. That's fair. Castellanos is super, super cheap on FanDuel. I don't love the matchup against Fried. Fried, a good ground ball guy. But like 2.3K for Castellanos seems kind of silly. I'm good firing on that. If I need to save some salary, I love the upside there. Tucker, I love. If Alvarez draws the start tonight for Houston, I assume he's fine and he's great. What do you have here, TJ, as far as some outfielders?
My favorite outfielders we got in here right now are Kevin Roth and Squirrelpatrol, who just joined us. But I'm going to get in outfielders quick. Favorite tournament guy is going to be Alvarez. I do love Betts as well, though. Shohei Ohtani is another guy I'm going to be paying up for. The mid-tier guys that I like are going to be Josh Naylor, Hunter Renfroe, Andrew McCutchen, Cody Bellinger, and then if you need to get nice and cheap over on FanDuel, you got a wildly cheap Franmil Reyes. I do like him quite a bit better than somebody like a Nick Castellanos, even though you're going to get the lower ownership and potential leverage on Castellanos. I would still rather go with somebody like Reyes, or even just play somebody like Trey Thompson in my Dodgers stack, who I don't have to worry about him getting pinch hit for because they're already facing a righty.
Where are we at as far as the likes right now, TJ? I know you're on top of that. You like the bag, you like the grovel. I try not to stoop. Every once in a while, I'll stoop.
I'll stoop as low as you want me to go. We got over 400 people watching. Give us 25 more before these crunch time guys start up, so I can give us a Spidey bomb on the way out. The first one was Josh Naylor. The second one was Javi Baez. The third one here, who should the third one be?
I don't know. As you think of the third one, the Giants lineup just came out. Jock Jams is leading off. Yeah, now left on left. I'm left on right. That makes sense. They switched to a righty. So Peterson becomes much more appealing. Of course, there's always the threat. He gets the hook later on the game if a lefty comes in. Slater, Flores, Belt, Ruff, Estrada, Gonzalez, VR, and the Bartman is batting 9th. Did I give you enough time to come up with your for Spider-Man? I'll play along.
The answer is Yordan Alvarez, but that's just a very obvious answer. And so Spidey's telling me to be audacious, to just go out there and say screw it, and we're going with Andres Jimenez.
Okay. Did you happen to have a third one, Will? As far as homers?
Oh, I think I didn't give out 3.
Maybe. I don't know. Do you have a fourth
Jose
one?
Ramirez, Corey Seager, Freddie Freeman.
I do see Squirrel and Roth lurking, but something I've noticed, Carty is, I don't know if he's doing his hair. I'm not sure. He's got a little pripping going on. He tends to join a little bit late, notoriously late. And to be fair, I don't think they're supposed to be jumping in until like maybe 25 after or something like that. So maybe Squirrel and Roth are just early. Roth, do we have audio from you? Can you say hello?
I can, yeah. Earlier I tried to interject and I was muted, and that was embarrassing, but I am no longer muted. So, hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday to you.
Jason in chat says Roth is already drunk. Just great. Can you confirm or deny?
I am drinking a bottled water, my friend. This is mineral water, and I'm only drinking that when I'm already drunk. Jason's right.
Eric says it's hard to get drunk off of Mike's hard lemonade. You are not. What is the age limit for Mike's?
No, it's not.
You got to stop drinking that at like 22, 20. When do you cut yourself off as far as Mike's hard lemonade?
I think I stopped at like 14. I think that was when I decided I was too old for that.
Carty, when was the last time you had yourself a Mike's hard lemonade?
It's been quite a while. It's been a while.
Hey, Carty, no pressure or anything, but tonight, like 4 months into the season, TJ finally said, "Hey, you know what? I'm aware of DerekCarty. I've heard of the bat. I've heard about it. People talk about it. We talk about it all the time. For the very first night ever, TJ is using the bat. I don't know where he's been, but I don't know, beginner's luck. TJ, speak on that."
Dean loves to slander me. I explained the exact situation to him already on the show, but of course he's bringing it back up now. I didn't realize, I didn't think it through that I could, now that I'm working at RG, I could maybe ask and be like, hey guys, can I have this added to my thing?
Yeah,
and so I was waiting until a time that I was like, all right, well, I've been winning for the last 2 weeks now. Money's back in the bank. Things are feeling good. So I was like, I'm going to get these projections because I've got to reinvest into my DFS skills a little bit. And then before I did that, I messaged Devin and I was like, hey, wait a minute. And so today we're running 150 and I'm excited about how it's going to go.
Awesome. Hope it goes well.
If you lose tonight, are you going to at Carty and say like, "Hey, this bat, man, what nonsense"?
Yeah.
What kind of sample size?
There's weather, I'm going at Roth. If this fails, I'm going at Carty. If I have a bad time in Chicago at the live final, I'm going at Squirrel.
That's good. Yeah, get all your bases covered.
Carty, quick question here. If you had a pitcher tonight, straight up, you taking Samson or you taking Ashby? I think I know who you're taking.
It's Ashby for me. I do like Samson.
Yeah, I figured.
Carty, how many pitchers? You use your fingers, use your toes, whatever appendages you need. How many pitchers do you like tonight?
I mean, we're definitely on two hands. There's
really.
Well, I mean, like is a relative term. There's none that are like great tonight, but there's plenty that in the context of this slate are playable.
Yeah, because they're all kind of terrible.
Yeah.
That makes me feel very good about having 11 guys in my pool right now.
Yeah. I'm curious what Squirrel has to say. I suppose you can say that, but Squirrel, give us a tease. What's your thought as far as pitching tonight?
I think it's one of the most unique slates I've ever seen. It's so dispersed. Like it's weird. It's like opening day, but like the second version, right? When you get to the fourth day of the season and like everybody's going with their fourth starter and like, yeah, there's no differentiation. I've never seen like no pitcher with a strikeout prop over 5.5 or like, projected for 6 or whatever. So like, yeah, I'm going as like, I'm doing like Zach Greinke. I'm doing like Ranger Suarez, like all the way down.
Hey, I got a question before you step aside and get out of here. I got a question for Carty, and this is just for you, Carty. Ted in chat says Bellinger. He's 192 for his last 100 at-bats. I assume that's 192 batting average and no power. When do we admit he stinks, Carty?
I mean, it depends on what you want to consider stinks. Like, the guy was an MVP.
Wait, how many pitchers do you like? Well, it depends on what you mean by like. When does this guy stink? Depends what you mean by stinks.
The thing is, he's been bad for his last 600 plate appearances, which is like one season. That's like the sample is still really small, and there is an injury in the mix, which I mean, I think you have to consider. But he's probably below average. He's probably not like the worst hitter in the world.
Rousing endorsement.
Yeah,
put that in the back of the DVD.
Dean, before you go, I gotta ask.
In the last month and a bit.
The mustache looks a little different. Are you just fermenting this, or is this like a natural rust color that's starting to come in?
Oh, I used some performance enhancers. Yeah, I did, and I was talking about this pre-show. Actually, somebody asked about it, and it's not as white or gray as it was last week. And I lost the brush, so I had to kind of make do, and I used gloves in my finger. And I don't know if I timed it just right. I don't know if I bought the wrong color shade, but it's still not dark enough. Yeah, it's the carpet and the drapes. It's still kind of messed up, doesn't match up, but there's something going on there. You're paying attention, but
You can subtly darken it though and see when you get to a shade that you like. But yeah, it's more rust colored. It was just so white that you couldn't even see it.
Yeah. And my friends, like my non-DFS friends, like that's that circle, like they got a hold, somebody finally got a hold of it and said, like, what is going on here? Because I don't live by a lot of people. And that was the topic of a fun conversation in our little, what is it? What's not like a Discord amongst friends? Why can't I think of that word? It starts with an S. Doesn't matter. But yeah, no, not Slack. It's something else.
Text
WhatsApp?
Yeah, it's like
Group
a WhatsApp. What is it?
Group chat?
Snapchat?
I don't know. I can't think of it. I'm on the. You're supposed to end on a high note, and George Costanza would not be proud, but we got to step aside and get out of here and make way for the FanDuel sponsor, Crunch Time. Ross going to tell you. I presume he's going to tell you about the RotoGrinders sponsored FanDuel contest that's going down tonight, the $3 single entry challenge. Maybe you have a promo, maybe you don't. I mentioned it earlier, but myself, TJ, and Will, we're going to step aside and get out of here. One last time, hit that like button before. You can hit it anytime the next half hour or so, because these guys are going to knock out the rest of the slate. Whatever we didn't talk about, they'll talk about. They'll reiterate. Myself, TJ, and Will, we're going to step aside. Now is the start of the FanDuel sponsored Crunch Time.
I miss you, Roth.
Take it away.
Miss you too. Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Excellent stuff. As always, there from the GrindersLive crew. But this is the moment you've been waiting for. It's crunch time. It is sponsored by FanDuel. And don't forget, if you're in a legal sports betting state, sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook. New users get the no-sweat bet up to $1K. FanDuel Sportsbook users, take advantage of that. You get your bonus on your first-time bet. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing going on. We are joined, happy to be joined by a couple of the sharpest minds in the biz. One, Mr. DerekCarty. He is the president of the BAT and the BATX Enterprises. Carty, how are you?
Doing pretty well, especially since being promoted to president. That's always nice.
It's a big upgrade. I think last time you were Pharaoh. I'm not sure if that's an upgrade or downgrade.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a step down.
Yeah. Either way, happy to have you and happy to have your takes here. And then we got the live final master. We got Squirrelpatrol in the house. Squirrel, how you doing, man?
Good. Yeah, and just a little shout out to our sponsor, FanDuel. There's they've got some satellites for the NFL contests out that are like not coming close to filling. It's good. Like if you're into like low dollar like satellites and you're pretty confident you're gonna play those like first few NFL like single entry or single game slates, like good satellites out there.
Okay, and if they don't fill, do we just what's the word I'm looking for?
They still have to hand out the same number of tickets. It's like satellite for like the Thursday night and like Monday night first week one NFL contest, like the single game contest. Like they're gonna hand out like 25 or however many 100 tickets in that, whether it's 101 people or or 250, whatever. They got to give those tickets out. So it was a good contest to get into.
Yeah, overlay was the word I was searching for, but couldn't quite find. But yeah, this is like a version of overlay, but with tickets. That all sounds great. Guys, there is one more thing to note before I dive into weather, and that is a fairly involved sponsor read. So just kind of get cozy in your seat here because we've got the FanDuel Single Entry Series ongoing. FanDuel Single Entry Series is back. $50,000 bonus cash up for grabs. 6 weeks of chances. You showcase your DFS knowledge here. No MME nonsense. You don't need 150 lineups. You just do one single entry. And then there's 2 doubleheader weeks. So you get 8 chances to win. Top 4 scores each week count towards your combined score. And then the players with the highest combined score each series get paid on top of those regular payouts that you're already getting, which it's like a win on top of a win. Top finisher in each series gets an all expenses paid trip to the Single Entry Series Championship in Chicago, September 9th, a shot at the $10,000 grand prize. So make sure to throw your lineups in the Single Entry Series before it is filled. This is the one contest that I actually do actively partake in. Usually I always try to win these Single Entry Series. Squirrel, as you love live finals, are you going to try to get down on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll be in Chicago anyway, but it's been a great time. Like I've gone to the FanDuel finals before and like met all the guys that are there for like the single game series. And like they're going nuts. It's a good time. Like they're going crazy because they've got big prize pools for that like single entry like championship. And yeah, it's a great time. Like I'm gonna be in there, I'll be in Chicago anyway, but I'm still gonna be in the single entry series. So yeah, definitely get in there.
Okay, great. So guys, sign up. And also there has been in the past, sometimes there's overlaying these. Either way, get in because it's one of the best things you can do. You're getting bonus money on top of the money you're already winning. So just go ahead, sign up and get in that. We're going to talk some weather here. There were 2 games in the Mid-Atlantic. I think Carty lives in the Mid-Atlantic. Philly and Baltimore, both those games are going to be fine. I thought they might have to late start. They're not. They're going to be fine. Low chance of a delay in Philly. Do we like a pitcher there?
Not for cash. GPP, there's a guy.
You're good. I think your chance of a delay in Philly is like 10, 15%. So go for it. Play whoever you want. The more interesting game is Boston. And I'll ask the same question. Do we want pitchers in Boston?
No.
Oh, hell yes. That's excellent news. That's wonderful. Models are really doing a very poor job at what's called initializing, meaning what models are showing at the start of the forecast period is not at all what's happening. So you can't trust what they think is going to happen going forward. Carty, it's like if the bats algorithms are wrong right at the start, you can't trust the projections. See how I put that in your terms?
Yeah.
So I don't really trust what models are saying, but I trust what my eyes are seeing, and that is just a chance for a delay, and that's it. And I'm not even sure that's going to happen, but models sure as hell think it's going to happen in like 10 minutes, but it's not. So play all the hitters that you want, and I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to get postponed. So play it.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's my game plan is stick with all the games, and that's it. So let's talk some pitchers. Carty, you want the honor of kind of leading things off?
Sure. Yeah. So as we kind of talked about with the big circle of friends earlier, it's not a great pitching slate. There's kind of one guy that separates himself from the pack, but even he's not like amazing. And then there's just like a whole group of guys. The bat has like 10 guys that project within like 2 points of each other. The top guy is Aaron Ashby. He's a good young pitcher. He's facing the Colorado Rockies away from Coors Field. The Rockies are pretty bad. And Ashby's kind of the top guy. Then there's just like a whole bunch of guys all clumped together. Sean Manaea against Detroit is going to be really good. Max Fried is probably too expensive. I think in GPPs, just the price and the ownership kind of has me off him, but like he's fine. And then we have a bunch of like mid-tier type guys that I think are all varying levels of interesting in GPPs. So we have Chris Flexen against Texas for a reasonable price. We have Merrill Kelly for a reasonable price. We have Jake Odorizzi for a reasonable price. On DraftKings, at least. On FanDuel, he's a little pricey. We have JT Brubaker, who it seems like everyone kind of loves, but the bats kind of just thinks is the same as everybody else, maybe a little worse. And then we have Zach Greinke, who is Zach Greinke, unfortunately, but he's also against the Angels. And the Angels right now are like the most strikeout heavy team in the world. Like everybody in their lineup, except for one guy, strikes out at a very high rate. And so Zach Greinke, even though he's not a strikeout guy, he's probably going to get a few tonight. He's super cheap. He's 5'9" on DraftKings. He's 7'6" on FanDuel, which isn't quite as good, but still definitely viable. So yeah, like there's a bunch of those types of guys. And then I think you can probably also throw Austin Voth at 5.7K into the mix as kind of a pivot off of Greinke.
Okay, I'm not sure if you saw this, but Kyle Tucker is out. So does the opposing pitcher get a boost there, and are you interested?
The opposing pitcher is Adam Aller, and he's real pretty bad. So I don't think I have a lot of interest.
Okay. Any other pitchers you want to name? I mean, you did go through quite a few there.
I mean, yeah, like I said, like so many guys project like the same today. So they're all good. I think you can probably, Tony Gonsolin projects the same as all those other guys, but he's like way more expensive and super overrated. So I think you can probably just throw him out. Just play one of the cheaper guys instead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's kick it over to Squirrel here and get some of your GPP takes. Squirrel, do you have a giant pitcher pool as well?
I do, but I was going to say like the guy that's at the top of my list is Tony Gonsolin.
Oh, sorry.
Because Like he's super expensive though, but I actually kind of agree with the premise, and so it's a total ownership like tournament thing that everybody projects the same. So and everybody kind of knows that Tony Gonsolin's overrated. But at this point in the season, like late July, everybody that's still playing like DFS baseball knows that Tony Gonsolin's really gotten really lucky so far this season, and he's too expensive. So he's gonna be the pitcher that I think has the best chance of doing really well. That's going to be super, super low owned. So I like Tony Gonsolin for tournaments. I mean, and I say he's at the top of the list. Like to be clear, I think everybody projects about the same. Like nobody's got like a strikeout projection over like 5.8 or something. Like you rarely see that with so many teams in play, so many pitchers in play. Like I don't even know that we have any like openers or anything. There's really nobody that's like totally off the board. And it is a great night to just go crazy. Avoid. I don't necessarily like JT Brubaker because I think he's going to be kind of highly owned because I think everybody likes him, thinking he's going to be a little bit sneaky. Maybe the same thing with Aaron Ashby. It's like I'm going way down the list. Ranger Suarez. I mean, he's in that. He's in Philadelphia. He's facing the Braves. They strike out a lot. It's not a great matchup, obviously, and there's I guess the weather concern, but he's got pretty much as good a chance as anybody else. Like Merrill Kelly. Zach Greinke, people hate to play Zach Greinke, but there's nobody. People don't like to play Zach Greinke because he doesn't have a lot of upside. But there's no pitcher with a lot of upside tonight. Sure. So it's a good night to play Zach Greinke. Like my honest goal with pitching tonight is just don't get killed. Like I don't want to necessarily lose it on my pitcher, but that still doesn't even eliminate a ton of guys. So yeah, it's a great night to go crazy with pitcher.
Okay, so basically you're looking for don't get killed and grab some guys at lower ownership.
Yeah, like Corey Kluber, like Noah Syndergaard. Nobody should be out of play. And I think if you're doing like single entry, you maybe want to go with one of those guys, like Greinke, Syndergaard, like Kluber, and like Tony Gonsolin, like guys you think are going to be like 20% or less owned even on DraftKings. Like good night to go nuts.
Okay, excellent. Before we get into some stacks, I do have to note that the single entry series that I lovingly and excellently read is actually full for tonight. I think it's Devin points out that I'm basically Ron Burgundy and I read whatever's in the teleprompter. So apologies on that. That was my contracted read, but apparently it's Phil. But it's a good sign that, going forward, it's going to get some steam. Make sure you get in those early going forward because, like I said, it's money, and then there's free money on top of it. So make sure you're signing up for the single entry series over on FanDuel. Okay, let's talk some stacks. And Squirrel, I guess I want to start with you. Although if you're playing every pitcher, I don't know what you're doing with bats.
So I might actually, might go a little bit less crazy with the stacks. I think the Dodgers, are probably the number one stack. I don't hate them, in single entry or. You're a large field. Like I do actually, I think they're the best offense by a pretty good chunk. They're facing Nationals pitcher like Paolo Espino. Nothing remarkable about him. And I mean, that's one of the best offenses in baseball. And we would have said before the season, yes, this is going to be one of the best offenses in baseball. I like Houston maybe next. Their lineup, I think, just came out. Like Kyle Tucker being out is a little bit of a downgrade. But it's always good when the lineup comes out a little bit late, kind of drives down ownership. So, like them, like Atlanta, like Milwaukee, just teams with power that, they can always go crazy, right? And if a team's hitting a bunch of home runs, just keep, batting around, eventually you can get the second baseman ends up, pitching the 8th or 9th or whatever. So a little bit less crazy with the stacks, but just looking for power, like the Dodgers, Houston, Atlanta, Milwaukee. If I'm going down the list a little bit more, maybe like Baltimore, Arizona.
Okay. Carty, you want to talk about some of your favorite stacks? And are you on board with Dodgers being that's the cash? That's the play. I know
I don't think the Dodgers are the Dodgers are the top stack. I agree with. I don't think they're the top stack by a lot. I definitely think you want some of them in cash games, but there are plenty of very similar teams today. It's almost like pitching where there's probably 10 or 12 teams that project pretty closely. And so I'm kind of fine with all of them. The
You want to
Dodgers,
give a few of your favorites?
yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are good. Atlanta's good. Boston's good. They're going to pick up ownership. I think probably the most underrated or most underowned stacks on the slate tonight are going to be like the Royals, the Pirates, maybe the Diamondbacks. Those are the ones that I kind of really like.
Okay, good.
But
Let's go.
Again, there's like 12 that you can play and be totally fine.
Sure. All right. Well, let's go position by position here. And Carty, why don't you start us off at catcher?
Sure. All right. Catcher. So Dodgers are the top team. Will Smith is batting cleanup for them. He's one of the best hitting catchers in baseball. The Dodgers are facing Paolo Espino. And so Will Smith, I think, is clearly the top guy. I think you try to make it a point to get up to him in cash games, especially because there's not a lot of appealing cheap guys at catcher today. You could save a little bit of money, I guess, and play like Cal Raleigh against Glenn Otto, or you can go down to Max Stassi for 3.2 against Greinke. But we don't have that 2.5K guy who projects decently today. That guy doesn't exist. So I think you probably just try to get up to Smith, especially because you're going to be saving money with pitcher. So you can kind of afford it.
Okay. Squirrel, anything you want to add there at catcher?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. I think it's good night to go with the catcher in your stack. Like, there's not necessarily any catchers on FanDuel that you're really going out of your way to play. Like Will Smith would be the guy on FanDuel that you're really playing at the catcher position if you want to play a catcher. Like Cal Riley is good, but other than that, not a huge amount of differentiation. Maybe Adley Rutschman with Baltimore.
Okay. Take us to first, Squirrel.
Sure. So I think, the top guys like Freddie Freeman would be super expensive. Luke Voigt, Brandon Belt, Rhys Hoskins, Ryan Mountcastle. I guess I'm now that I'm looking at it, I like Baltimore maybe a little I don't think I mentioned them in the stacks. But yeah, I mean, they're facing Corey Kluber, Christian Walker, Matt Olson. In terms of real value guys, Franchi Cordero hitting 6 for Boston, and Vinny Pasquantino with the Royals, only 2,400 on DraftKings. Hitting 5th.
Okay, Carty first.
Yeah, Freeman's the top guy, but too expensive. Ohtani, similar thing, really good, but expensive. I think there's plenty of mid-range and cheaper guys that you can consider. Luke Voigt, Josh Naylor, and then I think the real cheap guys are really appealing today. Bobby Dalbec for 2.4K on DraftKings. Squirrel mentioned Ryan Mountcastle. Hunter Dozier, I like KC stacks a lot, so I like Dozier quite a bit. He's first or outfield on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, I really think you can play Will Smith. He's cheap enough and he's good enough where in cash games, you probably just play Will Smith. But in GPPs, I think Rhys Hoskins is going to be a good play. Again, I think Dalbec, I think Mountcastle, I think Brandon Belt on FanDuel rather. That's first.
Okay, take us to second.
Max Muncy on FanDuel is always too cheap. Like, what else is new when the Dodgers project well, which is most of the time Max Muncy is going to project well. He projects as the top option today, and he's 2.4K. So I really don't think you have to overthink it much on FanDuel. In cash, at least, you're playing Max Muncy. I do think Merrifield is also a really good play, though. Syndergaard is the easiest pitcher in baseball to steal against. It's an easy catcher. It's one of the best stolen base matchups you can get. And so Merrifield with speed, hitting leadoff, is going to be a really good play on both sites, in cash, in GPPs, whatever you want to do. Merrifield is very, very good. On DK, he's probably the guy you play in cash because Muncy is not even second base eligible on DraftKings. So I like Merrifield. In terms of like cheap punts, Josh Van Meter is 2.7K hitting leadoff, and I don't hate Rougned Odor in GPPs if you're hunting for homers.
All right, Squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. Like the value guys, just a couple more like Abraham Toro, maybe Jonathan Scope with Detroit. I think Sean Manaea will get some ownership, and I think so you could play Detroit guys as a little bit of leverage there. But Scope's very affordable. Like Josh Van Meter, you don't usually get like a leadoff guy, 2,700. With a decent stack with the Pirates. Love Marcus Semien with Texas. Jose Altuve and Ketel Marte. Like, those are my probably 3 top guys, but they're pretty expensive.
Okay, take us to third.
So third base, Max Muncy, I've got as like one of the higher projected guys. I do think the Dodgers stack is going to be somewhat owned, so you're not really getting sneaky there. Really like Austin Riley with Atlanta. He's got the platoon advantage facing Suarez. I think Jose Ramirez, but I think Ramirez is going to be a little bit highly owned for my liking. I think we'll probably see like north of 20% ownership. And then Manny Machado among the expensive guys with San Diego.
Okay, Carty, you're nodding in agreement there.
Yeah, Ramirez and Machado, I think, are like the clear top tier here. And I think you can definitely try to get up to them. I don't think, especially on FanDuel, I don't think it's very hard. Even on DraftKings, though, I think you can make it happen. You do have Max Muncy on DraftKings at third, and I guess he's multi-position on FanDuel too. 4K on DraftKings isn't as cheap as FanDuel, but it's still pretty reasonable. Bobby Dalbec, I mentioned at first, he's also eligible at third. He's 2.4K, and he's after those top guys, the top 4. Dalbec projects as the next best guy, so I like him quite a bit. Maybe Matt Vierling hitting leadoff against Fried if you really just need something really off the board and punty and cheap.
All right, take us to shortstop, Carty.
Trey Turner is the top guy because the Dodgers are the top offense, and he's one of the better hitters in baseball. So I think in cash, you just play him on both sides. I don't think you have to overthink it. I don't think there's a whole lot to really love cheap tonight. And so I think you play Trey Turner. If you are looking for something cheap, though, Dylan Moore is 2.4K on DraftKings. I think he is very reasonable. I think Javi Baez on FanDuel, even though he's against Minaya, he's got the platoon advantage. He has power. There's definite upside there. There's upside with O'Neal Cruz. And then it's, guys in your stacks.
Okay, Squirrel.
Yeah. I think, Trey Turner, Willie Adames, like him, always just looking for power. Marcus Semien, also shortstop eligible, Corey Seager, Dansby Swanson. I think the Braves will be a little bit under-owned tonight, just because I think they're a little bit expensive and people are going to spread around and go with the Dodgers if they're spending a lot of money. Among the value, and Javi Baez, again with the Tigers, I think Detroit's a little bit of a sneakier stack. There's nobody there I really love in the value guys, but maybe like Taylor Walls with Tampa Bay.
Okay, take us to the outfield.
Outfield, I think, Mookie Betts, probably the top projected guy, Jordan Alvarez, Ronald Acuna, among value guys like Franmil Reyes, Hunter Renfroe, Jock Peterson's probably not going to get a ton of ownership. Might be a little bit of a pinch hit risk. Speaking of pinch hit risks, like Jake Lamb's hitting 5th for the Dodgers. But you might not get the full game from him. Matt Vierling's leading off, and he's only 2,300, and so he's third base and outfield eligible on DraftKings. And then maybe David Peralta with Arizona, among another value guy. Okay, Carty.
Yeah, a lot of the same guys. Fran Mill's way too cheap on both sites. He's great. Mookie Betts for the Dodgers is great. I think some of the Pirates guys are really interesting tonight. Brian Reynolds is back. He's affordable enough on both sites, especially on FanDuel. Ben Gamel in the same lineup, I think, is good. I like Cedric Mullins quite a bit tonight. Rob Refsnyder, the KC guys, Benintendi, Dozier, Merrifield, probably better at second, but you can use him in the outfield on FanDuel if you want. Juan Soto, I think, is really interesting. There's quite a bit of good outfield stuff tonight.
Okay. That brings us up here to get to some of our favorite questions. The first of which is usually, Carty, you got one stack to take down a tournament. Let's say it's the FanDuel single entry series. So you don't want to be the chalk, but you're not trying to get crazy. What's your stack?
It's tough because there's so many tonight.
Yeah.
let's say Kansas City.
Okay. Squirrel, you got a favorite?
Yeah, I'll go Baltimore.
Okay. I like it.
It's pretty spread out, but yeah, Baltimore.
Okay. Let's take a few questions, and then I want to do some home run picks as well, because my home run picks have been a little hot lately. So let's get to some of these QQs, and then in maybe 5 minutes or so, we'll get some home run picks. Start with D-Rock, DKGPP, Squirrel, Nate Lowe, and Mazzara, or Hosmer and Tavares.
Go with Nate Lowe.
Okay. Aside, Fanduel Cash, Carty, this is for you. Will Smith and Super Nintendo, or Renfro and Muncy?
I guess Will Smith and Benintendi, but really I think it should be Will Smith and Muncy.
Okay. All right. Sherman's Tanks, Fanduel Cash. Squirrel, you feel okay taking a cash question?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Jordan and Franmel, or Acuna and Duran?
I'm going to go Jordan and Franmel.
Yeah, that's the move. That's the move. Jordan's hitting a bomb. Carolina guy says, favorite stack in a FanDuel single entry. Oh, well, you answered that. Here's a good question for you, Carty. Your favorite pitcher in a FanDuel GPP?
Hold on, give me a second.
Carty types like a herd of elephants. He types like there's a large animal on his keyboard. It's just a little finesse goes a long way, Carty. You don't have to punch the keys.
Sorry, what was the question?
I don't know. I couldn't hear myself think over your loud ass typing. It was your favorite pitcher in a FanDuel GPP.
Let me take a look real quick. Are you typing? What was that?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Just so you know. Continue.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna say Sean Manaea. He doesn't even project for that much ownership, and he's good.
Okay. All right. Is that in Boston by chance? Am I making that up?
No.
Okay, good. All right. Let's see. NBA DFS says Squirrel FanDuel Cash, Trey Turner and Will Smith, or Bogarts and Freeman?
I think like Will Smith and Trey Turner for cash.
Okay. All right, great. Achilles DK single entry. Squirrel, I'm just coming right back to you here. Franchi or Lamb, last man in the DK single entry?
I'd go with Franchi because I think Lamb's a little bit of a pinch hit risk. Like Lamb's going to project really well, but he could get pinch hit for it.
Okay. Dean says, hey, Carty, how many baseballs does the Bat and the Bat X Enterprises feel that Voth throws tonight?
The Bat has Voth with 79 pitches tonight.
Okay. If you had to bet over or under the Bat's projection, which way would you personally lean?
I think the Bat's got it right.
I love it. That's good. That's good dedication. All right. Beast Mode says, Squirrel, round out the DK Dodger stack, Smith or Turner?
I'd go with Will Smith because I think there's like a bigger opportunity cost at shortstop. So like I think you can go from like Trey Turner, good to like Willie Adames, and like Adames could hit 2 home runs, but like it's tough to see. Like Will Smith is probably the better catcher by a chunk, like big chunk on DK.
Okay, great answer and great explanation. Carty, Texas stack in a DK GPP. Is it too chalky? Is it chalky at all?
No, Texas doesn't project for much ownership. That I'm at least in the Bats ownership. It doesn't have Tex on FanDuel, maybe.
Yeah, Squirrel.
No,
it's a DK GPP
they
question.
They also don't project that well, so I wouldn't even think about playing them.
Squirrel, any interest, and are you worried about them being too chalky?
Sorry, Texas?
Yeah.
I'm definitely not worried about them being too chalky. I think you can play them. I feel like anything's on the board tonight. So like I think you can go Texas. Might have meant Houston. Like Houston's going to be chalkier than Texas.
Oh, maybe it's same state. Yeah, same state. Okay, let's see. John Tom, FanDuel GPP, Manaea and Squirrel, I'm coming to you. Manaea and Odorizzi straight up. Odorizzi would be leaving money on the table.
I think you can go with Odorizzi. Yeah. Like if like for tournaments, it was a tournament question. Like go with Odo Rizzi.
Yeah. All right. Great. A few people coming to the conclusion he probably meant Houston in that. All right. I'm going to hop over to the YouTube as we've caught up on a decent amount of those questions. You go into the YouTube and it's just a cesspool, man. You can't even read the first like 3 comments that I've seen here. All right. Hoosiers Hang Banners says, can we just start calling Dansby Swanson Dansby Samsonite? I thought that was going to be a real question. It's not, but yes, we can do that. QQ Seattle stack. Carty, in, out?
They're fine. They wouldn't be in my top 10, but they're fine.
Okay. Let's see. Squirrel, any interest in the Seattle stack as I try to catch up on some of these questions?
Yeah. I mean, there's no like very little differentiation tonight. So like, yeah, basically like Io, like yeah, go for it, Seattle.
Okay. Squirrel, DK single entry, Houston or Angel stack?
Ooh, I'd go Houston. Like Houston's gonna be much chalkier, but Angels are like pretty low on my list. Just like Trout's out, so yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Carty. Beaner says Smith or Freeman in a FanDuel GPP.
I mean, they're both great. Freeman's probably better. So I guess, I mean, he's more expensive too. So it's really up to you. They're both good plays. All
right. We've got 5 minutes until lock, and I'm just getting word from my wife that as soon as it hits lock, we will be ending the show. So let's do some. I don't get to make that call. That's Emily's call. Let's do some home run picks here. Squirrel, I'm going to start with you. Who is your favorite home run pick? It can be chalk if you want, or if you want bonus points, it can be off the board.
I'll go with Willy Adames.
Adames. Okay. You have mentioned him multiple times. And one time you said could hit 2 home runs.
Yeah.
It's a direct quote. All right. Carty, you got a favorite home run pick from you or the Bat X Enterprises?
I'll go Franmil Reyes and then Bobby Dalbec if you want a really cheap one.
Okay. All right. I've got one. Feeling 3 of the last 4 home run picks here have went yard. I'm picking a guy who's only hit like 10 home runs on the whole season, but he's a lock to hit one tonight. And that man is Luke Voit. Luke Voit going yard. I have no idea. Don't even know if he's in a good spot. Carty, is it a terrible choice?
It's not a terrible choice. I mean, he's fine. He's fine. It's a pretty good spot. It
just means you're getting better odds on it. Lower ownership and better odds. Luke Voit, bomb tonight. Lock it in. Don't really do it. I'm just a weatherman. Okay, let's take some QQs here. Carolina guy says, hey, is Ohtani a good one-off? 4,000 left FanDuel single entry. I don't think anybody mentioned him. Squirrel, is Ohtani a good one-off?
Yeah, I think that's a good one-off because you don't want to play like an Angel stack. So yeah, play Ohtani though, like because he could have a big game. So it's a great one-off.
Okay. Achilles, FanDuel Cash, Carty, Freeman, Franmil, or Naylor Mullins?
The first one for sure.
NBA DFS says, Squirrel, rank the big 3 in the outfield for cash. I'm going to give this to Carty, actually. Carty, rank the big 3 in the outfield for cash. This is FanDuel, Alvarez, Betts, and Acuna.
It's definitely Betts first. Then Alvarez and Acuna project almost the same, and Juan Soto is also basically on their level.
Okay, great. Raymond, FanDuel GPP, Squirrel, last man in. You like Riley or Freeman? I think we answered that one, but maybe not.
I'd go Austin Riley.
Okay, great. More FanDuel Cash, Naylor or Renfroe, Carty?
Naylor.
Okay. Sit down, son says, I got a whole lot of Luke Voit. Great call by Roth. That's right. We're winning it all. That's right. That's what I like to hear. Hey, Dan Jan says Baltimore stack and a DK single entry.
Yeah, they were my one single entry stack pick.
Someone just posted a screen grab of a bet slip that says Luke Voigt wager $7,500 to win $22,000, and I had a stroke before realizing I sure hope that's photoshopped.
You called it a lock.
Well, I was being facetious. It's not actually. It's not truly a lock. And honestly, plus 300, I figure those odds would be like plus 500. Plus 300
To be fair, you also kind of preface the whole thing with, I don't even know if he's in a good spot. So if someone wagering based on that, that's kind of on them.
Right. I have no idea. I just know he looks like a dude who would hit a lot of home runs. That's pretty much all I know about him. Beaner question. This is a 3v3. We're going to call it, well, Squirrel, you can call it whatever you want, but here's the 3v3. Renfro Smith Reyes or Freeman Muncy Reyes. So the 2v2 here, Renfro Smith or Freeman Muncy.
I'll go over Renfro Smith.
Okay. Let's see. Squirrel. DK single entry Squirrel 2v2. Manea Renfro or Samson Yordong.
Samson Yordong.
Okay. We got less than a minute to lock. Achilles, FanDuel, Cash, Carty, Smith Turner or Freeman Xander.
Smith Turner.
Thoughts on an Angel stack, FanDuel single entry? I felt like I got lukewarm vibes on both of you on that one, right?
Yeah.
Me. Seager is a one-off in DK single entry?
Sure. He's fine. He's Seager.
Sure. All right. With that, we're probably creeping up on the old lock here. And we've caught up on all the questions. And I don't know, something must be going horribly wrong upstairs with the wife and kids. So with that, we are going to get on out of here. So for Squirrel and for Carty and for our, I got to milk this at least until we hit lock. Hang on. Always a pleasure working with you guys. Big shout out to our sponsor, FanDuel, just doing great things. FanDuel single entry. Make sure you get in it early tomorrow as it filled up. There it is, pulling it up right there. So for Squirrel and for Carty and for our wonderful production team, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.